Detroit.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is Shinoo with Kinetic. I've got a video today that kind of talk about maintenance on sports cars. You know, cars have gotten so reliable nowadays that so many of us are not really thinking about some basic maintenance that really sports cars really do need to be looked after, right? And so I want to talk about maintenance from a high level for those of us who love our sports cars and are out there driving them hard. But also what I want to kind of key in on and focus on is going to be the Lotus Elise and Exige and things to look out for with those cars, specifically from a maintenance perspective. So what prompted this whole thing? Well, we've had a couple of incidents recently that made me think, you know, it might be worth putting a video out there to kind of just gently nudge all of you enthusiasts out there that, yes, you know, a 20-year-old car needs to be looked after a little bit more than most modern cars. And so what happened to us? Well, we were out on a canyon run with our 996, a 26-year-old Porsche 911. And I saw a flashing check engine light. So I pulled over, turned the car off, turned it back on. I had oil pressure. I had no check engine light. I got out of the car. Everything looked pretty good. So off I went. And this time I was driving the car a little bit more easily, right? But sure enough, in about 15 minutes later, check engine light starts flashing again. I pulled over, turned the car off, and started it back up and heard the most terrible metallic cacophony. And so shut the car off immediately. So anyhow, the damage had been done at that point. So that really got me thinking more about what we all need to be considering when we have sports cars, particularly older ones that are out of warranty, that we're having fun with. You know, things degrade over time. Cars need to be looked after as a result, okay? Cars that are static, things can still degrade, you know? And so I want to talk about some of those things. What are those things that you ought to be looking at? And then we can kind of look specifically at the Elise and Exige. What are those kind of, considerations? So at a very high level, regardless of what sports car you own, you ought to be looking at your car. You should get yourself an OBD2 reader, okay? And we're talking about cars that have been made in the last 30 years. But this OBD2 scan tool will allow you to read any codes that are setting in your car. And if you see something there, with the tool, that should prompt you. And the internet has gotten so good that you can Google search this or use ChatGPT or AI to get a lot of detailed information about any codes that might come up in your car, right? Other things, the obvious stuff like checking the fluids. Engines have gotten so good now that they don't really burn oil like they used to. But in a performance car that's being run at high RPMs, oil consumption can still be a very, very significant thing that you need to look after. 911s, particularly older 911s, were designed to consume oil. And that's why you'll see in the older cars, you'll see an actual oil level gauge that's in the car itself. And in fact, on my 996, there's a digital display that shows specifically the level, right? And with my failure, well, we did have oil in the car and that wasn't the issue. So anyhow, the fluid levels, whether it's engine oil, transmission oil, coolant, brake fluid, these are all things that you certainly want to be looking at and making sure that one, they're reasonably fresh, okay? That you're maintaining them with the intervals that the manufacturer is recommending and having them changed out, accordingly, okay? Another thing that is critical is, frankly, your brakes. Make sure your brakes have enough life in them. We recently had a customer that came in with brakes and he was getting close and he was going to do a track day. It was his first track day. We had advised that he change his pads, but he thought, I'm a beginner. I'm not going to use too much pads. And it was pretty it looked like maybe he could get away with it. Well, it turns out after his first week, day on track, he needed brake pads. And so very, very important for you to look at your rotor thickness, pad thickness. Make sure you've got an adequate amount before you go do any sort of performance event. Nuts and bolts, okay? Nuts and bolts. This is another thing that is worth checking out on your car. And what we'll do on the Lotus Elise, we'll go, and look at some of these things very specifically, but everything rattles loose on sports cars. And the smaller, lighter ones, they rattle loose even quicker, okay? The Lotuses are notorious for having the nuts and bolts come loose. So we actually have what we call our 60-point prep, basically a checklist on our website that you can download for free and use that as a way to check your car to make sure that all the critical nuts and bolts are tight, okay? What we like to do is take those, joints apart. We like to thread lock the hardware. We like to torque it to spec, and then we like to put a little paint marker across it. That paint marker is really going to show you whether a component is out of spec or not. And so something, simple that is, important for you to do before you take a long trip or go and do a performance event, whether it's an autocross or a track day, or frankly, a big canyon run with the guys at the tail of the dragon or elsewhere. Now, another thing that often people forget to consider is tires, okay? If your tires are past the date code that is basically molded into the sidewall of your tire, you really need new tires, okay? Honestly, on the really lightest cars like these Elises and Exesias, Ariels, Drakens, you name it, we think that a tire that is any more than 5 years old should be changed, regardless of whether you have enough tread remaining in the tire. If you have aged that tire out, that means the durometer or the softness or hardness of the tire has exceeded what we believe is safe for that tire, okay? Many of you may know that Paul Walker, he was in a fatal accident in a Carrera GT, and when they looked deep into that accident, what they discovered is that the car had original tires. Even though it had plenty of tread life, the tires were original, which means they were probably hard as a rock, and they provided them absolutely no grip. So when the car unfortunately let loose, they were unable to control the car. Okay, so check your tires. That's something that we often overlook because we see that there's enough tread and we think we're fine. But check the date code, make sure that that's good to go. Okay, another area to look at, your exhaust system. Okay, particularly if you're running performance events where you are running at high RPM. Okay, these high RPM events mean a lot more temperature. Okay, and exhaust systems get hot. Okay, and frankly we don't think of it this way, but exhaust systems are a consumable on a car and they wear out. Okay, and you want to keep your eyes on that. And for some of those of you who have got tunes that shoot flames, well, I'm not a big fan of that. But if you're shooting flames from your car and you know that, then you better inspect your exhaust system on a regular basis, because the last thing you want to do is have that exhaust crack and flames start shooting out inside your engine bay, catching your car on fire. Okay, we've seen that happen as well. So another area on your cars are things like the ignition and electrical system, okay? Whether it's fuses, check your fuses. If you've got something that's failing, look at all the fuses, know where they're at in your car. Make sure you've got some spares with you as well, okay? The battery, okay? A lot of modern cars now have these constant electrical drains that are just killing batteries. We were the first really to introduce small batteries on the Elise, okay? Well, what we didn't really fully understand at the time was this constant electrical parasitic drain that exists on those cars. And so the small batteries get eaten alive. And then what happens is when the battery voltage starts to get marginal, all sorts of other weird issues start popping up with the car, okay? So if you insist on keeping a small battery, we highly suggest you have either an electrical cutoff, or at minimum, you should have a tender. Whether you have a full size or a small size, our advice is put your battery on a tender, okay? Unless you're driving the car on a weekly basis, we would recommend putting a tender to maintain the battery life, okay? The other bit is, ignition related, issues. Things like your spark plug, your coils, okay? These are things that, modern spark plugs have gotten quite good, okay? And we don't often have to change them as frequently as we used to. But it's such a simple thing, and frankly, low cost thing that is easy to change. The coils on your car as well, check the life on those, okay? Over time, those are also they will start to fail, and an easy thing that you can do to tune up the car to make sure that it's running as you want. Anyhow, these are some of the key things that we think that if you look at on your cars, you are going to be able to really keep your car in decent condition so that when you need to go run it, you can have a great time. And if you're not mechanically inclined, then take it to a qualified mechanic. Take it to somebody who understands all of these things. If you have an Elise and Exige, download that 60-point prep, bring it to your mechanic and have him go through that for you, okay? Have your car checked once a year for sure. If you're not the one doing it, please have a qualified person inspect that car, check your oil, okay? If you have a check engine light, determine what that is. If it came on and went away, find out what code was potentially being, that is interim and maybe setting soon. Find out what those things are. Make sure your tires are fresh. Make sure your brakes have got enough life. But you take care of these type of things and you can have a lifetime of fun with a modern sports car. So thanks for watching, guys. You know how to reach us. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Reach out. You can email us, you can call us. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.